Interest rates are going up. They just went up by 0.5 point this Wednesday. Bank of Canada made their announcement, and the pundits and economists are saying expect more rate hikes in 2022. So we'll see. What I want to talk to you about is, should you be panicking? Because I think a lot of people are panicking, especially those borrowers who have a variable rate mortgage. Should they lock in? We're still in a low interest rate environment. Is an apocalypse coming? What is going on? And, you know, if I'm about to go get a mortgage, should I be getting a variable or a fixed? So without knowing you and knowing your risk profile, your risk tolerance, the psychology of how you like to do things in life, your household finances, you know, I can't give a yes or no answer. However, I can give you some context and some numbers around variable and fixed rates and what that looks like over time. And I think it's pretty fascinating. I love to look at data. Those of you who've been following me know that I love to look at the hard numbers first, and then we make our decisions from there. So you always look at the data first, and then a good professional will look at your individual situation and the psychology around how you like to make your household financial decisions, and then we match up the two and come up with a solution, because no two borrowers are the same. So I want to show you a really interesting chart. I think it's interesting. Bank of Canada overnight lending rate versus the prime rate over time since the 1930s up to 2022. The two rates tend to track together and drive the variable rate you would get on a mortgage. But look at this, okay? This just gives you context. 1935, 2022, the 1980s, people were losing their homes, losing everything. Interest rates were extremely high. This is where we are now. Give you a little bit more close up. Again, the blue line is Bank of Canada overnight lending rate. The orange line is prime, 1935. Here's where we are now. So context, look how low the rates are. Low, 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 low. Even after the most recent rate hike. Now, let's answer the variable versus fixed. You know, which one's better? It's not a yes or no answer, but this will provide you quite a bit of insight into what might be best for you based on your risk profile. 5-year fixed versus variable mortgage rates over time. And I pulled this off of Rate Hub. I thought it was a great chart. So the blue line is your 5-year fixed. The red line is your 5-year variable rates. And I went back 10 years, but you can actually go back a lot further and it looks very similar. Look at this. Fixed is higher, sometimes much higher. Variable tracks lower over the last 10 years, except, well, COVID, the world went crazy, and then back to variable lower than fixed, okay? This is really important because over time, throughout lending history in Canada, going much further back than even 10 years, generally, variable rate serves the consumer better in terms of interest costs. You save money. However, if you're someone who will absolutely lose sleep and be sick to your stomach worrying about your mortgage payment going up next month, then you do need to talk to a mortgage broker about whether or not you should switch to a fixed rate mortgage solution. Depends on you. It depends on your individual financial circumstances. It depends on a lot of things. So there's not a one size fits all, but generally we are in a very low interest rate environment still, despite the recent rate hikes. Variable rates generally perform better over time in terms of interest savings for the borrower. However, if you need complete predictability and stability, then you may have to look at a fixed rate solution. So that's the long and short of it. It's always more, more nuanced for every individual borrower, but just look at the hard data. Over time, variable rates perform better for the borrower, and we are in a low rate environment still. However, there are lots of complex things happening in the global economy right now that could, turn things upside down, quite frankly. We don't know yet. We just know that we have supply chain problems, major inflation, a war in the Ukraine. It costs a lot of money to put gas in your car right now. Groceries are expensive. There's a lot of things happening. Inflation's very high, and so the Bank of Canada is trying to cool an overheating economy. And I'm really simplifying, but that's why they increase the overnight lending rate, okay? Is they're trying to cool an overheating economy. But remember, they're doing a very delicate dance, because if they are too aggressive in their rate hikes, they run the risk of throwing Canada into a recession. So keep that in the back of your mind as well. If you have any questions at all, call or text me 403-382-7335, or you can look me up at karriflatla.com. In the meantime, have an awesome weekend, and I'll see you for next Friday Fire. Take care.